So what's coming up in today's video? We'll take a quick look at my goals from last year, look at my goals for this year. I've got my annual charity challenge coming up, which I'd like to tell you about, and I've got my hiking tips for 26. Hi, Dave here, Hiking Required. It's now January 2026 and today is a planning day. As to be more outdoors in 2026, I need to plan what I'm going to do. So, looking back on last year, I decided to set myself some goals. So after doing some research into hiking, I found that there are a number of different hill classifications, and one of which is the Marilyn. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but there are actually 10 Shropshire Marilyns, and 10 is a nice round number for a challenge. So I chose to do all 10 last year. For those that don't know much about Marilyns, they are hills or mountains with a relative prominence of at least 150 metres. But although I'm based in Staffordshire and have the glorious Peak District on my doorstep, the beautiful Shropshire Hills are actually a little closer, and the Wrekin has always been a firm favourite of mine. So I filmed each attempt, currently on my Shropshire Marilyns playlist. So I'll add the link at the end of this video, and if the Shropshire Hills are calling you, then please feel free to check out my videos for inspiration. These and all hills have several paths to the top, so feel free to plan your own route, but in the description to each video I've put a link to the OS Maps route plan that I put together for each, but that was last year. Now for this year's goal, we're on for a big Peak District Ethel's adventure. Now if you've not heard of Ethel's before, they are named after Ethel Haythornthwaite, and she was passionate about protecting the countryside for the enjoyment of all, and was a leading light in the establishment of the Peak District as the first national park in Great Britain. Now the park was created in 1951, but it wasn't until 70 years later that Doug Colton created the Ethels as a commendable additional challenge to the likes of the Munros of Scotland, the Wainwrights of the Lake District. So this challenge is a new challenge, and it's born out of 95 prominent hill summits in tribute to Ethel Haythornthwaite, and it was fashioned in the hope that more people would be encouraged to go outdoors for their own physical and mental well-being. But Doug Colton also developed the Ethel Ready app. Now that's an app that you can download onto your phone that gives you a map of all the Ethels and a description about each summit and how you can get there. And it's worth noting that not all of the summits can actually be accessed, because some of them are on private ground, so there is no public right of way to those, but the app tells you where you can get closest to actually then bag the Ethel itself. I use the app myself, and I will be using it for this particular challenge to keep track of all 95 as I get them. So if you'd like to join me on that adventure, please do like and subscribe and click that bell icon to get the notifications each time I put up a new video. But hopefully I will be able to do all 95 in 26 individual daily hikes, and I've called my challenge for this year my hiking fix in 26, just to be corny. Okay, so this year's charity challenge, I mean, it's been an annual affair, and I started it with my hiking buddies Neil and Jeremy a few years ago now, when we initially started to walk up the National Three Peaks and then moved on to the Yorkshire Three Peaks, and last year we attempted a 10 peak challenge around Buttermere in the Lake District. But this year, yep, we've promised to return to the Lake District for another 10 peak challenge, but I won't put any spoilers in just yet. I'll be dropping some teasing hints in each of our training hikes, 4 of which we have planned in February, March, April and May, and hopefully from those clues you'll be able to guess where we are actually going to go. But I will drop at the end of my fourth training hike a bigger clue as to where we will be. Now hopefully you'll all get it from that big clue, if not before, but please do drop in the comments your guess if you think you know where we're going, and yeah, watch out for those last video to see if you were right. What I can tell you now is that we will be doing the charity hike on the 16th of June. Now it's a Tuesday, so if you are out on that Tuesday, please do look out for us, and hopefully you'll recognise me from the video, and please do say hi if you do. But if you do spot us, then let me know what's your favourite hill or mountain, and if you've been watching my videos, let me know which video you think is your favourite. So I look forward to seeing you out on the 16th of June. Now for my happy hiking tips. If you're trying to get outdoors more this year, then my biggest tip for you is to plan. You don't have to find a big hill or mountain to start your own challenge. All you need is your local green spaces. Now, if you do want to set yourself a challenge, a useful website is called Wellbeing UK. Now, they list all of the hills and mountains in the UK and Ireland, and provide some information about how to find them. Separate categorised lists that will help you to find something suitable or local to you. Now, I don't have many mountains nearby. In fact, my nearest mountains are in Wales or the Lake District. But hills by themselves are a fair old challenge anyway, so I use the local hills to help keep myself fit. I'm not sponsored or anything, but Wellbeing UK does have a free sign-up option, and that's the one that I use because you can record each hill that you have attempted and summited, etc. So you can keep a diary essentially of your attempt and hopefully your successes. But once I've found some hills, the things that I then start to think about is, how do I get there? Where do I park? And as well as using the OS maps to find suitable parking, I also use Google Maps and Street View to check out whether the parking will be suitable. Now, before I set off, other things to consider are the weather, and I use the mountain weather forecast service primarily because it gives me an idea for each, certainly the prominent hills and mountains, gives me the expected temperature both at the summit and at various levels, as well as whether it's going to rain, how strong the wind's going to be, and a few other things that are useful to know. But you don't want to set off if the weather is awful. I'm in it for the views, that's why I go hiking. Occasionally I'll go even though there are going to be no views, because in this country you can't guarantee the weather, so you kind of got to make the most of the time when you've got it. That said, I will try and pick a hill which isn't going to be as difficult to climb in poor weather, because the last thing I want to do is get lost. Hence why having somewhere local that you're familiar with doesn't really matter if it's raining, if you've got the right kit. But if you do get to your mountain or hill, it's worth noting that the weather at the bottom before you start could be quite significantly different to the weather at the top. So if you have checked a weather service that's giving you a summit view, it's worth noting and taking into consideration how long you think it's going to take to get to the top, and then by what weather you should be expecting at the top and on your way back down again. If it's poor, it can be very disorientating navigating off a mountain or a hill that you're not familiar with. Important before you set off, take that time to say, right, am I going to get up and down safely before the weather closes in? Now, looking at your plan and your route, if you've planned it on a paper map, that's good, but you still need to take into account what to expect when you are walking up a mountain or a hill. It's important to help figure that out. Now, I use the OS Maps app to plan all of my routes, and that will give me an indication of how long it's going to take, as well as how far it's going to be. Now, there are free sign-up options to OS Maps, and it's both online in a browser, and you can download it to your phone. And it has a number of other different apps, the ability to record your route as you're walking it, and overlay a planned route on top of the one that you are planning to walk, so that that's the activity that you start. Now, I find it useful because it's GPS enabled, so it will tell you where you are and how far, if you've strayed off your route, how far off your route you may be, so that you can make sure that you can stay on your route. Which takes me back to another thing. I try and research all of my route, both through maps, several different layered maps, whether that be satellite views, paper maps, other information that shows whether there's a route there or not, but also YouTube. There are a lot of YouTubers who have videoed their routes, and so if there's a hill or a mountain that I want to do, I will check YouTube to find out whether somebody's already walked. The key thing is stay safe, but enjoy yourselves. So for my last night, overall, I'm in this for the views. There's nothing worse than getting to the summit and not seeing those views that you're expecting. You'll probably see me at the top of the mountain most often on fair weather days. Although yesterday I was actually out on the Peak District moors in thick fog. The most important thing is to enjoy your hiking. So from me, Dave, and Hiking Required, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all on the trail this year. So be more outdoors in 2026, and happy hiking.